third-generation Iron app on Google Play and the App Store.
I was never going to be a men's physique.
Didn't have much of an off-season.
I like his physique better.
I'm always very energetic. I will have to put me as one of the greatest.
Mr. Olympia was won by the back.
How do you feel about fat burners? Do you recommend them to your clients? Do you take fat burners? What is your take on it?
Well, which ones? The old school fat burners were strong as hell. They
over the counter stuff. I'm talking about just
yeah. So yes, I think they're good. I think fat burners won't do shit for you unless you're dieting and you're in a caloric deficit. Look, if you're not in a caloric deficit, meaning you're eating less calories than you're burning. If you're not in a caloric deficit, you're not going to lose weight. It's just the way it is, okay? So if you're in a caloric deficit and you're training and everything's on point, you take a fat burner, it's an edge. It can definitely help you. It can help you burn fat. But there's two different fat burners. There's some natural fat burners that are not that strong, and then there's some fat burners that have some stuff that can really stimulate you, but also put a lot of stress on your thyroid, on your metabolism. So if you abuse them and take them too long, they'll drain you, and they can also slow your metabolism down. So you got to be very careful. That's why I said depends what kind of fat burners, because there's some strong ones out there that could really mess you up, and a lot of people, it's sad to say, but they abuse it. If you take something, a drug or a pill over the counter, and you're 20% stronger, you last 20% longer, your endurance and all this stuff, most people will just keep taking it, and they don't say, oh, I've been taking this for 2 months, I should take a break. To be perfectly honest, a lot of people might not believe this, but that the last preps that I told you, Olympia and the Cali shows, I liked my conditioning the best for Olympia. I thought I was very conditioned, but it didn't show on stage. But if you see my pictures and videos before, on stage, I always have a hard time because I make weight and then I get a little bit flat and watery or whatever the case may be. But I took yohimbine HCl. I didn't take any like clenbuterol or anything like that. I took yohimbine HCl with my diet. And to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't get as drained. Like in the past, when I would take something else like Clen or some stronger stuff, I would get really, really drained, and I'd get very weak towards the end of my prep. So listen closely, guys. Like a lot of people will take drugs, they'll take thyroid medication, T3. If you take a fat burner like that, besides the fact that it's dangerous, if you take a fat burner like that and it drains you and it makes you tired, and now you can't lift as heavy or as intense, well, shit, what's the point? So you would be burning more calories if you lifted harder. So when I didn't take any of those and I just did the Yohimbi, I felt more fresh, and I was lifting heavy all the way up to the week of the show. So a lot of guys might not want to believe that or hear it, but that's the truth.
Mm-hmm. What about, you mentioned caloric deficit, right? How does individual supposed to figure out when they're in caloric deficit exactly? How do you calculate that?
Okay, so there's tons of calculators online that you can get your BMI, BMR, and your basal metabolic rate, your resting metabolic rate, your resting caloric needs, like how much calories you need just sitting there on the chair. But, I never even do those. I did those years ago. It's a decent starting point for someone to be like, okay, my base requirement based on this calculator and my activity level is 1,500 calories. So you start there, and then you slowly take away week by week. You don't drop too much, but maybe you'll take away 200 calories a day for this week. And then you gauge where you are. But after that initial calculation, which again, I really don't even do, you got to just pay attention. You have to you have to use 3 different measurements: the scale, the mirror, and your hunger. The scale is not always the best measure because you can get leaner but gain weight. A lot of my clients, the first week, they get tighter and leaner. They lose water and body fat, but they gain water in the muscle. Their muscles fill up because I have them eating the right way around their training. So they have intramuscular water, and they look bigger, and their scale is higher, but they look like they're leaner. So the scale, how you look, and your hunger. If you're losing weight and you're hungry throughout the day and you're getting leaner, you're in a caloric deficit. The odds are you're in a caloric deficit. If you lost like 6 or 7 pounds in a week, I recommend you scale back and eat a little bit more. But you have to also differentiate between water and fat. The first week, if someone gets on a diet from eating like a regular person, they're going to lose a lot of water because most regular people from a regular average diet retain a lot of water.